what exactly I'm doing is to speak about importing data into Carrotsuite platform and how to format the data. So to that end, I'm going to be showing you different worksheets or Google Sheets. One is the invoice and payments data. The second one is the client biodata form. So because you will need this to have full and accurate importing of customer data. So I'll proceed straight to.
We're not going to.
Please, can you speak up? So can you still hear me? Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, so the first thing we're looking at is the customer biodata. I believe they've given you the template. If they've not, after this session, I think I'll just forward it to our miss, then she can forward it over to you. So this is the client template. So I think it's pretty straightforward. All you need to do is make sure that the data you're imputing is just arranged in this same order. The name, the email, the house address, the sex, the phone number, the file number, date of birth, state, hometown, LGA, marital status, postal address, office address, on and on and on and on. So if the client has multiple phone numbers, you enter the first phone number on the column to the left, while the other numbers will be entered. You can see phone 2 and phone 3. So those are columns for extra phone numbers. So don't put 2 phone numbers on the same column, on this same column. Put only one here, then put any other one on phone 2, put the other one on phone 3, if he has up to 3. Now, file numbers have to be unique for each client. File numbers have to be unique so that there's no confusion when we're importing data. Because why file numbers have to be unique is that this same file number will be used in their invoice data to match the client to their invoice and their payment. So file numbers have to be unique. Now it seems like they don't have an existing filing system. So because of that, what you have to do is just you use their phone numbers. So after inputting all their phone numbers on this column, you can just drag by extension like this, and then it will apply to the file number, or you copy everything and paste it on the file number column so that the phone number of the client becomes their file number. I think that makes it very easy and faster. So the other thing you should note is the date of birth. The format is day/month/year in full. For instance, 12/5/2021. So that's date of birth. If they don't have year on their form, you can use a fictitious year. If they don't have year on their form, maybe they have day and month. They don't have year, just use a fictitious year. The year doesn't matter. The most important thing is the day and the month because of the auto birthday messaging that goes out to them. So if there's any other date, which there's no other date here, but this particular one is day/month/year. And to format date of birth, to format date, if you're using a Google Sheet, I think it's pretty straightforward. Just select the date or select the column, select the date or the column, then click on format, then number, then you go to, like here, I already have it saved. But if it's not saved on your own, you go to more formats, then more date and time format. So it brings you to where you can format it yourself. Here now it's already formatted, day/month/year. But if it's not formatted on your own, you can just delete it and reformat it. So to delete it, all you need to do is You've deleted it now. Then to format it properly, you just say day, you put slash, month, you put slash, then you select year. You can see year is just two figures, but year is supposed to be full, 1930, 2020, 2021, not 30 or 20 or 21. So what you do, you click on the year. You can see options here, 2-digit here, full numeric here. You select full numeric here, and then you apply. So once you apply, it will format all the dates on that column as you have programmed it, day / month / full numeric year. So this is it for client template or for the customer biodata. If you have any issues, I believe you have access to my number. You just ask me questions. Then the next one is the invoices sample sheet. That's for invoices and payment. This one seems to be a bit technical. So let me explain it properly. Now you can see the first column is the file number. So the same file number you used on that customer biodata is the same file number you will use here. The same file number you use there is the same file number you will use here. So each customer's file number must be unique, like I've said before. And then each customer's file number must be before their invoices or before their payment. Now, looking at this invoice sheet, there are a couple of things you should note. Number one is the row 1. This is the headings. These are the headings for the different columns. First is file number, second is date of payment, third is due date on the invoice, which is optional. Due date on the invoice, which is optional. Then fourth is transaction ID. Fifth is payment method. Then the other one is amount. Then installment number, but it's written installment here. Then invoice ID. Then marketer ID. You get the ID of the marketer that brought the client. So that's the ID you will include here. If it doesn't exist, you can leave it blank. The invoice ID, if it doesn't exist, you can leave it blank. Then the square meter of the land that was sold. You get the square meter that was purchased. Then the quantity, number of plots. That's same as quantity. Then this deed, survey, contract of sales columns, they are variable. Or let's just say, I will handle that when you're done. So what I need you to do is, if they have, for the different documents they sell to clients, that clients have to buy from them, after land is complete. For the different documents that client has to buy from them, after the sale of the land is complete, for example, deed of assignment, survey plan. So you need to use them as headings here, different headings. If there are 2 documents, then you have 2 extra columns here, deed and survey, for example. If there are 3, you have deed, survey, contract of sales. However, it is just arrange them like that. Now I've explained the headings. The ones that are optional, due date on the invoice is optional. But if the invoices have due date, kindly include them here. If the invoices have due date, kindly include them here. Then the transaction ID is optional. But if there are transaction IDs, include them here. Payment method, like you can even leave this on. When you are done, you just change everything to transfer. Because that seems to be the default mode of payment these days. Because, and again, you may not know exactly how the client paid. So you can just default everything to transfer. You get, like I said before, invoice ID is optional. So square meters, I believe all their lands have square meters, all the lands they sold. So that needs to be captured. Now let me explain the rows. So once you start, for every new client file number, you add. For every new client file number you add, the first row is called installment 0. Hello, are you with me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. So for every new file number or client file number you add, the first row is called installment 0. Let me do this now, how it will be easy for you. when you get this template, what you could do is you can copy the client names. You can copy their names in the, you can, I don't think that will work because they paid multiple times. It's not all outright. So let's skip that. So in this case, for every new file number you add, the first row on this document is called installment zero. And installment zero, as the name implies, it is not part of the installment payment. Installment payment starts counting from installment one. Installment zero is just to capture the full invoice details. You get to capture the full invoice details. That's what installment zero is about, to capture the full invoice details. For instance, the total payment, the total amount to be paid on the invoice is 500K. So that 500K divided by the number of plots makes up that installment zero. So for instance, look at this column. It's written 200 or 2 million. Installment zero. Quantity is written 1. What this means is that the actual amount, the total amount on this installment zero is 2 million. Because 2 million multiplied by quantity will give you the total amount on that invoice. So in reverse, what it means is that if you pick an invoice and it's written 2 million and it has 2 plots, it means the amount that you will indicate here is 1 million. 2 million divided by 2 equals to 1 million. So you put 1 million here, and then under quantity, you will put 2. So when this data is imported, the application will multiply this amount by the quantity to get the total amount on that particular invoice. So I repeat, installment zero is the invoice details. Installment zero is the invoice details. So then installment one is the first payment. So for installment zero, this date of payment is the date the invoice was created, the date the invoice was issued to the client. That's what the date indicates for installment zero. Many times, the same date it was issued is the same date of the first payment. So not usually far apart, you get. So this date usually will also be the same date for installment one. So the due date is the same thing from the invoice, you get. So you don't need to put due date for other installments, installment one, installment two, installment three, installment four. You don't need to put due date again, just for that first row called installment zero. That's where you need to indicate due date. So the next is the installment one. After installment zero, you have installment one. So installment one is the first payment on that invoice. For instance, an invoice might have 10 payments. Installment one is first payment on that invoice. After the invoice is issued to the customer, the first payment he made, that's installment one. Installment two, second payment. Installment three, third payment. Installment four, fourth payment. So if you paid up to 10 times, it means you're going to have installment 1 to 10. That means 10 different payments on that invoice. If you paid just once, you only have installment 1. So if you paid just once and that is it, you just move on to the next file number and start again installment 0. You get, if that one paid 3 times, it will have installment 1, installment 2, installment 3. Then you move on to the next one, and then you start installment 0 again for the next file number. So moving on, now you have the square meter, which I've covered. So this square meter should not be the total square meter on the invoice. For instance, the person bought 3 plots, and the plot is 600 square meters. So it shouldn't be 1,800 square meters here. It should just be 600 square meters, because the application will multiply the square meters by the quantity or the number of plots to know the total square meters on that invoice. So you don't need to indicate all the square meters in the square meters multiplied by the number of plots. No, just leave the square meters as the square meters of one plot. That's what you indicate here. Okay, then for this document, what this means is that you can see this is 500,000 colon 2. That means that, okay, this person is paying for deed of assignment for 2 plots. For 2 plots. That's why it's 500,000 colon 2. So this 500,000 is the total amount for the full deed. 500,000 colon 2. That's the total amount for the full deed. You get. So let's say the person paid his installment 3 times: installment 1, installment 2, installment 3, and he finished paying for the land. Then he now paid for deed. That deed will form installment 4. That deed payment will form installment 4. I hope you get that. Deed payment will form installment 4. So you have installment 1, installment 2, installment 3, installment 4. That deed payment will form installment 4. But if you paid for the deed alongside installment 3, what that means is that you have to capture the deed payment alongside the installment 3. Look at this, for example. This is installment 2 over here. Then you can see the payment made here, 200,000 under for the land. But as the person was paying this 200,000, he was also paying for the deed, 100,000. So what this means is, if the client is paying his final payment on the land and it's 500,000, and then the deed is 200,000, and he paid 700,000 at once, what you do is, it will still be the same installment 3 or installment 2, but you indicate payment for land here, then you come to this side and indicate payment for the deed. So this is how it's supposed to be. Now, you can see these other ones. This is telling us this is how much payment he has to make for the deed. Column 2 means he's paying for 2 plots. You get. So you may be asking why this is 1. Let me change it to 2 so that you're not confused. So column 2 means he's paying for 2 plots. So then the same thing you're going to repeat in survey or any other documents they issue out to customers. So the date format also has to be the same, like the client biodata, day/month/year in full, day/month/year in full. So you can go ahead to ask your questions so I can answer them.
Okay, thank you for the lesson. I mean, for the training. But on the form, will it be well detailed, like the deed and the installments, and the, just a minute while I see the Excel sheet. Okay, like the deed, will it be well stated on the form? Like all these boxes, I mean the subheading. Will it all be stated on the form?
When last I looked at their data, the last time I came there, it was or it's properly detailed. It's well detailed.
Okay.
It's well detailed. When last I looked at it, it's well detailed. So I think it's not going to be difficult for you to, if you're very skilled in Excel, I think you can even manipulate their data to get this format. If you're very skilled in Excel, you get, instead of having to do it all afresh, I think you can even, based on what I saw the last time I came, you can actually manipulate what they have done to get this arrangement. So that it's only the ones that are not there you now start sourcing for. So I don't think you really have to maybe start typing everything. Some of those things are properly arranged. I think I can just do copy paste, then rearrange columns, and then the repeating fine numbers. So I don't think it's going to be that difficult. It's properly structured. You get in their own way. So it's just for you to adjust it to this format. And it has to be per estate. It has to be per estate, estate by estate. So it means for this document now, I can call it estate A. I'll open another document, I'll call it estate B, another one estate C. So each of their estates has to have its own invoices data. So for each estate separately. So don't mix it together. And I think they already have it like that because they separated all the estates.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. So any other questions? Hello, Toby.
Sorry, for the square meter, how do we determine it again? Is it that by default it's 500, 600, and 700, like you said?
No.
So how do we determine the one? Okay.
They are going to give you those things. You get when you're doing it.
Okay.
Like this question now is a question you ask them. Because each client or each invoice has the square meters they sold per plot to that client. You get each invoice,
Okay, thank you.
each transaction has its own square meters they sold, maybe 300, maybe 450, maybe 600.
Thank you.
Okay, so you are good now. Hello, Toby.
All right, so yes, I'm with you. So are we done?
Yes, I've explained everything.
Okay, Abigail, do you have any other question for Mr. Johnson, or you are good to go?
Just a minute. I'm trying to look at my notes. Just a minute, please.
Okay, and Mr. Johnson, I should call you later, just maybe during the week,
Yes,
if she.
yes, of course. You
Okay,
can give her my number. If there's any issue, just send it on WhatsApp. I will reply.
Okay, that's fine.
okay,
Thank
all
you.
right,
If there's any issue, send it on
Okay, that's
WhatsApp.
all
okay
right,
then.
okay, all right then, all right. Is this recorded?
Yes, it's recorded.
All right, please, can you share it with us so we can share with Abigail? You can share with Abigail directly.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Abigail.
You're welcome.
Thank you.